Welcome back to Antique Coins Information, the channel where history meets treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the world of classic American coinage to uncover the top 5 most valuable and rarest Lincoln 1-cent wheat pennies, legendary coins that have stunned collectors and sold for millions of dollars at auction. From legendary minting errors to century-old rarities, these humble pennies hold incredible stories and insane value. Moneybag Sparkles, stay tuned as we reveal the history, rarity, and astonishing prices behind these numismatic gems, and you might just find out if one of these golden treasures has been sitting in your pocket all along. Today's story takes us back to a pivotal moment in American history, a time when the world stood on the edge of enormous change. The year was 1941, and in the United States of America, a simple copper coin passed through countless hands, never announcing that decades later it would become a prized treasure for collectors around the world. This is the story of the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, yet hides remarkable value, history, and fascination. Imagine holding a small brown coin, worn smooth by time, yet still proud in its design. On the front, the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln gazes forward with quiet strength. His expression is calm, dignified, and thoughtful, reflecting the ideals he represented and the nation that honored him. This portrait was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, making it the first circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1941, this design had already become deeply ingrained in American life, jingling in pockets, resting in cash registers, and passing from one generation to the next. The absence of a mint mark on this penny is one of its defining features. When a Lincoln wheat penny shows no letter beneath the date, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At the time, Philadelphia was the primary mint of the nation and produced enormous quantities of coins to meet the growing demands of commerce. In 1941, millions of pennies were needed every single day, and the Philadelphia Mint worked tirelessly to keep America's economy moving. Yet even among these large production numbers, certain examples survived in extraordinary condition, setting them apart from the rest. The reverse side of the coin features the iconic wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat design symbolized prosperity, growth, and the agricultural strength of the nation. It was a fitting image for a country that relied heavily on farming and industry, especially as it prepared to enter a global conflict that would test its resources and resilience. The wheat penny design would continue until 1958, but the 1941 issue stands out because of its historical timing and the quality of coins that were produced that year. 1941 was a year filled with tension and uncertainty. The world was already engulfed in war, and although the United States had not yet formally entered the conflict, the signs were everywhere. Factories were gearing up for increased production, materials were being stockpiled, and everyday life carried an undercurrent of anticipation. Copper, the primary metal used in pennies at the time, was already becoming increasingly important for military and industrial use. This context adds another layer of significance to the 1941 wheat penny, as it represents one of the last full years before major wartime changes affected American coinage. Despite being mass-produced, not all 1941 no-mint mark pennies are created equal. Condition plays a critical role in determining a coin's worth. Many of these pennies circulated heavily, developing scratches, discoloration, and wear that softened their details. However, a small number were preserved carefully, either by collectors who recognized their potential or by sheer luck. These high-grade examples retained sharp details, strong luster, and minimal marks, making them incredibly desirable today. Collectors often examine the smallest details when evaluating a coin. The sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the condition of the wheat stalks all matter. Even the color of the coin can influence its appeal. Some 1941 pennies have aged into a rich brown tone, while others display a reddish hue that hints at their original mint brilliance. Coins with more original red color are especially prized, as copper naturally darkens over time. Another factor that elevates the value of this coin is strike quality. A well-struck penny shows crisp lines and full details, indicating that the coin was produced with optimal pressure and alignment at the mint. In 1941, the Philadelphia Mint generally maintained high standards, but variations still occurred. Coins with exceptional strikes stand out among their peers and command greater attention from collectors. The journey of a 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny from everyday currency to valuable collectible is shaped by decades of survival. Many were lost, damaged, or melted down over the years. Others were spent repeatedly, enduring the wear of countless transactions. Only a fraction escaped this fate and remained in near-perfect condition. These survivors are the ones that excite collectors, spark auctions, and achieve impressive prices. The appeal of this penny goes beyond numbers and grades. It carries emotional and historical weight. Holding it is like touching a small piece of America's past, a reminder of a nation on the brink of transformation. It circulated just before the attack on Pearl Harbor, before the United States entered World War II, and before everyday materials like copper became tightly controlled. In this sense, the coin serves as a tangible link to a defining era. For new collectors, the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny is often a gateway into the world of numismatics. It is old enough to feel historic, yet common enough in lower grades to be accessible. As collectors gain experience, they begin to appreciate the nuances that separate an average example from an exceptional one. This journey of learning adds to the coin's allure and keeps interest alive across generations. Auction records and private sales have shown that top-quality examples of this coin can reach remarkable heights. When a penny with stunning preservation, strong original color, and minimal flaws appears on the market, it attracts fierce competition. Collectors understand that opportunities to acquire such pieces are rare, and they are willing to pay significant sums to secure them. This dynamic has steadily increased the coin's reputation and desirability. It is important to understand that the value of a coin is not just about age or rarity alone. It is the combination of historical significance, condition, demand, and survival rate that determines worth. The 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny embodies this balance perfectly. It was born in large numbers, yet only a select few have endured in a state that elevates them to elite status among collectors. Stories often circulate of people discovering valuable pennies in old collections or family heirlooms. A jar of coins passed down from a grandparent, a forgotten album tucked away in a drawer, or a childhood collection revisited years later can sometimes hold surprises. While most 1941 pennies will not be extraordinary, the possibility that one might be exceptional keeps collectors searching and dreaming. This sense of discovery is part of what makes coin collecting so captivating. Every coin has a story, but some stories are more remarkable than others. The 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny tells a story of a nation preparing for change, of craftsmanship and mass production, and of survival against the odds. It reminds us that even the smallest objects can carry immense value, both monetary and historical. As time continues to pass, coins from the early 20th century become increasingly distant from everyday experience. Fewer people remember a time when wheat pennies were common in circulation. This growing distance adds to their mystique and appeal. Future generations will view these coins as artifacts from a bygone era, further strengthening their place in the world of collectibles. For those who already own a 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny, careful preservation is essential. Proper storage, minimal handling, and protection from environmental damage can help maintain its condition. Even subtle changes in surface quality can affect value, especially for higher-grade examples. Respecting the coin as both a historical object and an investment ensures that its legacy endures. Ultimately, the fascination with this penny lies in its transformation. The humble 1-cent coin is often overlooked, tossed into drawers, forgotten in pockets, or ignored in jars collecting dust. Yet hidden among these ordinary copper pieces are rare survivors of history that quietly carry extraordinary value. Today, we are diving deep into one such coin that has fascinated collectors for decades and continues to surprise people around the world. This is the story of the United States of America 1952 D-Mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that appears simple on the surface but holds remarkable significance beneath its worn copper skin. To truly appreciate this coin, we must travel back in time to post-war America. The early 1950s were a period of rebuilding, optimism, and quiet confidence. The nation had emerged from World War II stronger than ever, industries were booming, families were growing, and everyday objects reflected stability rather than extravagance. Coins minted during this era were never intended to be collectibles. They were tools of daily life, passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, diners, and corner shops. Yet time has a way of transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. The Lincoln Wheat penny design had already been part of American life for decades by 1952. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse displays a dignified portrait of President Lincoln, his calm expression symbolizing unity, endurance, and moral strength. By the time the 1952 issue was produced, this design was deeply embedded in the national consciousness. On the reverse side, 2 wheat stalks curved gently along the edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. These wheat ears symbolized prosperity, agriculture, and the foundation of the nation's economy. For decades, Americans carried these symbols unknowingly in their pockets, unaware that one day collectors would examine every detail with intense scrutiny. The Denver Mint played a crucial role in producing the 1952 wheat penny. Identified by the small D mint mark beneath the date, coins from this facility were struck in massive quantities. At first glance, this might suggest that the coin is common and therefore unremarkable. But coin collecting is not simply about mintage numbers. It is about survival, condition, and the subtle characteristics that separate an average coin from a legendary one. Most 1952 wheat pennies lived hard lives. They circulated heavily during a time when cash transactions dominated daily commerce. They were dropped, scraped, stacked, counted, and stored without care. Children spent them on candy, adults used them for bus fares, and shopkeepers tossed them into tills. As a result, the vast majority of these coins show significant wear today. Their details are softened, their surfaces dulled, and their original mint luster long gone. However, a very small number of these pennies escaped heavy circulation. Some were tucked away in drawers, albums, or rolls, preserved by chance rather than intention. These survivors are what collectors search for relentlessly. When found in exceptional condition, the 1952 wheat penny transforms from a simple cent into a powerful artifact of American numismatic history. The quality of the strike plays a major role in determining value. Denver Mint coins are known for producing strong strikes during this era, but variations still exist. Sharp details in Lincoln's hair, crisp lettering in the motto, and fully defined wheat stalks on the reverse are signs of a superior example. Even minor differences in clarity can mean a dramatic difference in worth. Another critical factor is the coin's original copper color. Wheat pennies were struck using a bronze alloy composed primarily of copper. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes copper to darken. Coins that retain their original reddish tone are far rarer than those that have turned brown. Collectors classify these colors carefully, and the brightest examples command the highest premiums. Surface preservation is equally important. Scratches, contact marks, stains, or signs of cleaning can significantly reduce value. A pristine coin with smooth surfaces and untouched patina stands far above the rest. Professional grading services examine these elements under magnification, assigning grades that can elevate a coin from modest collectible to elite rarity. The emotional appeal of the 1952 wheat penny also contributes to its desirability. For many collectors, this coin represents a bridge between generations. It evokes memories of parents and grandparents, of simpler times, of an America defined by hard work and steady progress. Holding one feels like holding a piece of everyday history, frozen in copper. What makes this coin particularly fascinating is how deceptive it can be. To the untrained eye, it looks no different from countless other old pennies. It is only through knowledge and careful inspection that its true potential is revealed. This mystery is part of what keeps collectors searching through rolls, estate collections, and inherited jars of coins, hoping to uncover a hidden treasure. The market for Lincoln Wheat pennies has grown steadily over the years. As fewer high-grade examples remain available, demand continues to rise. Serious collectors compete fiercely for top-tier specimens, especially those certified in exceptional condition. Auction records show that when one of these rare survivors appears, it captures attention instantly. Beyond monetary value, this coin carries historical weight. It was minted during a time when America was redefining its place in the world. The Korean War was underway, technological innovation was accelerating, and the foundations of modern American society were being laid. Each penny struck in 1952 witnessed this era firsthand, circulating through the hands of citizens shaping the nation's future. The Denver Mint itself adds another layer of interest. Known for its high output and consistency, it played a vital role in supplying coinage to the growing western United States. Coins from this mint often display distinct characteristics that collectors learn to recognize and appreciate. For those new to coin collecting, the 1952 Dewey penny serves as a perfect example of why condition matters more than age alone. While millions were produced, only a tiny fraction survived in near-perfect state. This scarcity at the top levels is what fuels astonishing values and enduring fascination. Collectors often speak of the thrill of discovery, the moment when an ordinary-looking coin reveals itself to be something extraordinary. The 1952 Dewey penny embodies this thrill perfectly. It reminds us that treasures do not always glitter, and that history often hides in plain sight. As time moves forward, opportunities to find exceptional examples grow increasingly rare. Coins are lost, damaged, or permanently altered each year. Those that remain untouched become even more precious. This gradual disappearance ensures that the finest surviving specimens will only increase in significance. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or someone who has never looked twice at a penny, this coin tells a powerful story. It speaks of craftsmanship, endurance, and the unexpected value of preservation. It proves that even the smallest denomination can carry immense worth when history, rarity, and condition align. So the next time you come across an old wheat penny, pause before dismissing it. Examine its date, its mint mark, its color, and its details. You may be holding a silent witness to America's past and perhaps a remarkable piece of hidden wealth. And for those fortunate enough to possess a pristine example of the 1952 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, its value has been known to reach as high as $43,475. Imagine holding a small copper coin that once passed through countless hands during one of the most dynamic periods in American history. It may look ordinary at first glance, but hidden within its worn surface is a story of industry, ambition, and surprising value. Today, we journey into the fascinating world of the United States of America 1955 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that continues to intrigue collectors and dreamers alike. The Lincoln wheat penny is more than spare change from the past. It is a symbol of a nation moving forward while honoring its roots. By the mid-1950s, America was experiencing post-war optimism. Factories were humming, families were growing, and pockets jingled with coins that carried meaning far beyond their monetary use. Among those coins was the Lincoln wheat penny, a design that had already become iconic by 1955. The obverse of the coin features the familiar and dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln. His calm gaze faces right, reflecting strength, unity, and endurance. This design, first introduced in 1909, was revolutionary at the time because it marked the first appearance of a real historical figure on a regular circulating United States coin. By 1955, this portrait had become deeply embedded in American culture. Children recognized it, adults trusted it, and collectors cherished it. Turning the coin over reveals the famous wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent. These simple stalks of wheat symbolize prosperity, agriculture, and the backbone of the American economy during the early 20th century. The reverse design remained unchanged for decades, making each wheat penny part of a long and continuous story. When you look at a 1955 D wheat penny, you are seeing one of the final chapters of this classic design, as the wheat reverse would soon be replaced just a few years later. The D mint mark on this penny tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint. During 1955, the Denver Mint was a powerhouse of coin production, helping meet the growing demand for currency in a rapidly expanding nation. Millions of pennies rolled off the presses, destined for everyday use. Yet, within this vast production, Certain examples would stand out due to their condition, striking quality, and subtle characteristics that collectors prize today. At first glance, many people assume that all pennies from the 1950s are common and of little value. After all, they remember finding them in jars, drawers, and even sidewalks. However, coin collecting teaches us that value is not just about age. It is about rarity, preservation, and demand. The 1955 Dewey penny sits at an interesting crossroads of these factors. Most of these coins entered circulation immediately and saw heavy use. They bought newspapers, candy bars, and cups of coffee. Over time, many were scratched, dulled, or damaged. As a result, high-quality surviving examples are far less common than the original mintage numbers suggest. Collectors today search tirelessly for coins that escaped heavy circulation and retained their original luster and sharp details. The condition of a coin is one of the most important elements in determining its worth. On a well-preserved 1955 Dewey penny, Lincoln's hair strands remain clearly defined, his cheek shows minimal wear, and the wheat ears on the reverse appear crisp and full. The original copper color, often a warm reddish tone, can still glow if the coin was carefully stored. These visual qualities can transform an everyday penny into a prized collectible. Another factor that draws attention to this particular penny is its place in history. The mid-1950s represented a turning point in American society. Technology was advancing, suburbs were spreading, and consumer culture was booming. Coins from this era serve as tangible reminders of that transformation. Holding a 1955 Dewey penny is like holding a small piece of that vibrant time, preserved in metal. Collectors are also fascinated by minting nuances. The Denver Mint was known for producing strong strikes, but variations still occurred. Slight differences in pressure, alignment, or die condition can result in coins that appear sharper or more visually appealing than others. These subtle distinctions often separate ordinary examples from exceptional ones, and knowledgeable collectors learn to spot them instantly. Over the years, the popularity of Lincoln wheat pennies has never faded. New collectors often begin their journey by assembling wheat penny collections, while experienced numismatists continue to hunt for top-grade examples to complete or upgrade their sets. The 1955 Dewey penny frequently becomes a topic of discussion because it is accessible yet capable of surprising value when found in outstanding condition. Stories occasionally surface of individuals rediscovering these pennies in inherited collections or forgotten boxes. What once seemed like a simple keepsake suddenly becomes an object of serious interest. These moments fuel the excitement of coin collecting, reminding everyone that hidden treasures can still be found in unexpected places. The copper composition of the coin also adds to its appeal. Unlike modern pennies made primarily of zinc, wheat pennies contain a higher percentage of copper. This gives them a satisfying weight and rich color that many collectors prefer. The feel of a copper wheat penny in hand connects the present to the past in a very physical way. As demand for high-quality examples continues, the market for wheat pennies remains active. Auction results and private sales consistently demonstrate that collectors are willing to pay significant sums for coins that meet strict standards. The 1955 Dewey penny, when graded highly by professional services, stands as a clear example of how condition can elevate a common coin into a valuable artifact. It is important to understand that not every 1955 Dewey penny will command attention. Many circulated pieces are worth only modest amounts. However, the existence of exceptional examples keeps interest alive. Collectors know that patience, education, and a keen eye can make all the difference. This penny also represents the closing years of an era. Within just a few years, the wheat reverse would disappear, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. That change marked a new chapter in American coinage. As a result, late-date wheat pennies like the 1955 D hold special significance as some of the last of their kind. For enthusiasts, the appeal goes beyond money. It is about history, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. Each wheat penny has traveled a unique path, and imagining where it has been adds depth to its value. Whether it sat in a cash register, rode in a pocket, or rested untouched in a collection, it carries silent stories waiting to be appreciated. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge is power. Understanding mint marks, grading standards, and historical context allows collectors to make informed decisions. The 1955 DeWitt penny rewards those who take the time to learn its nuances. It stands as a reminder that even the smallest denomination can hold remarkable significance. As we reflect on this humble yet fascinating coin, it becomes clear why it continues to captivate collectors. It is not just a penny. It is a snapshot of American life in the 1950s, preserved in copper and history. Its journey from everyday commerce to collectible treasure illustrates the enduring magic of numismatics. And for those fortunate enough to encounter an exceptional example, the value can be astonishing, reaching as high as $39,475. The world of antique coins is filled with quiet legends, overlooked treasures, and small pieces of metal that carry the weight of history in the palm of your hand. Among these timeless collectibles, the United States of America 1956 No Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny holds a special place. At first glance, it may look like nothing more than an ordinary old penny, something you might have seen resting in a forgotten jar or tucked away in a drawer. But for collectors, historians, and treasure hunters, this coin represents a fascinating chapter in American numismatic history, one that blends artistry, post-war optimism, and the subtle details that turn a simple cent into something truly remarkable. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series had already earned legendary status by the mid-20th century. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By the time 1956 arrived, the wheat penny had been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, passing through world wars, economic hardship, and dramatic social change. Each coin struck during this period carries echoes of everyday American life, from bustling city streets to quiet rural towns where a single cent still held real purchasing power. The 1956 No Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark during that era. This detail alone makes it intriguing for new collectors, because the absence of a mint mark often raises questions. Many people assume that a missing mint mark means an error, but in this case, it is a sign of authenticity and tradition. Philadelphia was the primary minting facility, producing vast numbers of coins to meet the needs of a growing nation. Despite its high mintage, the true appeal of the 1956 wheat penny lies in its details, condition, and historical context. The obverse of the coin features Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's calm, thoughtful expression reflects strength, integrity, and leadership, qualities that resonated deeply with Americans in the post-World War II era. The inscriptions are simple yet powerful, with the familiar words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" framing the design, while the date 1956 quietly anchors the coin in its moment in time. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat reverse, with 2 curved wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design symbolized abundance, agriculture, and prosperity, values that were especially meaningful during the 1950s, a decade marked by economic growth and renewed confidence. The wheat stalks also represented the backbone of the nation, honoring the farmers and workers who helped sustain America through challenging decades. What truly makes the 1956 No Mint Mark wheat penny fascinating is the story behind its survival. While millions were produced, most were heavily circulated. They passed through countless hands, paid for newspapers, candies, and bus fares, slowly wearing down their details. Over time, many were lost, damaged, or melted, leaving fewer examples in higher grades. This natural process of attrition is what gives surviving well-preserved specimens their appeal and value today. Collectors pay close attention to the condition of this coin. Even subtle differences can dramatically affect its worth. A penny with sharp details, clear lettering, and minimal wear stands apart from those that have been worn smooth by decades of use. Original copper color, often described as rich and warm, adds another layer of desirability. Coins that retain their natural luster and avoid harsh cleaning are especially prized, as cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce collector interest. Beyond condition, the 1956 wheat penny attracts attention because it sits near the end of an era. Just 2 years later, In 1958, the wheat reverse would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. This makes the 1956 issue part of the final generation of wheat pennies, a closing chapter in one of the most beloved coin series in American history. For many collectors, owning a late-date wheat penny feels like holding the final notes of a long and meaningful song. There is also a strong emotional element tied to this coin. For older generations, wheat pennies were once common pocket change, a normal part of daily life. Today, they spark nostalgia and curiosity, especially among those who remember finding them in circulation. For younger collectors, discovering a wheat penny for the first time can feel like uncovering a small piece of the past, a tangible link to a time before digital transactions and modern conveniences. The market for the 1956 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny has grown steadily as interest in classic U.S. coins continues to rise. Collectors appreciate its balance of accessibility and significance. It is not so rare that it feels unreachable, yet high-quality examples are scarce enough to create genuine excitement. This balance makes it an ideal coin for both seasoned collectors and newcomers looking to build a meaningful collection. Auction results and private sales have shown that exceptional examples of this coin can command impressive sums. When preserved in outstanding condition, with strong eye appeal and original surfaces, the 1956 wheat penny transforms from a simple cent into a serious collectible. Each record-setting sale reminds the world that even the smallest denominations can hold extraordinary value when history, rarity, and condition align perfectly. Another aspect that adds intrigue is the careful examination required to evaluate this coin. Collectors often use magnification to inspect the lettering, date, and wheat stalks for sharpness and clarity. Subtle die characteristics and strike quality can also influence desirability. While not known for major error varieties, the 1956 wheat penny still rewards those who take the time to study it closely, deepening appreciation for the craftsmanship involved in its creation. The story of this coin is also the story of America in the 1950s. It reflects a nation rebuilding and redefining itself after global conflict, embracing innovation while honoring tradition. Coins like the 1956 wheat penny circulated during a time of expanding suburbs, booming industries, and cultural transformation. Holding one today is like holding a silent witness to that era, a small artifact that traveled through history unnoticed, yet enduring. For many collectors, the thrill lies not only in value but in the hunt. Searching through old collections, estate finds, or inherited coin jars can reveal surprises. The possibility that a seemingly ordinary penny could be something special keeps enthusiasm alive. The 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny often appears in these searches, quietly waiting to be recognized for what it truly is. As interest in tangible assets grows, classic coins continue to attract attention as both historical objects and stores of value. The 1956 wheat penny stands as a reminder that rarity is not always about low mintage, but about survival in exceptional condition. Time itself becomes the filter, separating common examples from extraordinary ones. When you consider everything this coin represents, its appeal becomes clear. It is a product of skilled artistry, historical significance, and decades of circulation. It connects the present to the past and demonstrates how even the smallest coin can tell a powerful story. For collectors who appreciate depth, history, and subtle beauty, the 1956 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny remains a compelling piece worth studying and preserving. In the end, what transforms this humble copper coin into a headline-worthy collectible is not just its age, but its journey. From the moment it left the Philadelphia Mint to the day it caught the attention of a collector, it traveled through time carrying stories, memories, and value. And in the rarest and most exceptional condition, this single cent has achieved a recorded value of $34,444. Imagine holding a single copper coin in your hand, a humble 1-cent piece that once passed quietly through countless pockets, cash registers, and grocery counters across mid-century America. At first glance, it looks ordinary, almost forgettable. But hidden within its worn copper surface is a story of industry, history, rarity, and surprising value. Today, we journey deep into the fascinating world of the United States of America 1957 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters alike. The year 1957 was a time of transformation in America. The nation was riding a wave of post-war optimism. Suburbs expanded, televisions entered living rooms, and factories hummed with production. In Denver, Colorado, the United States Mint was working tirelessly to strike millions of coins needed for everyday commerce. Among them was the Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny, a design that had already been in circulation for nearly half a century. Even then, no one imagined that decades later collectors would be scrutinizing these very pennies with magnifying glasses, searching for clues that separated the common from the extraordinary. The Lincoln wheat penny design itself carries deep symbolism. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile reminds us of unity, sacrifice, and resilience. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln became the first real person to appear on a regular-issue United States coin. That decision alone made history. On the reverse, the familiar wheat stalks curve upward, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Those wheat ears symbolize growth, prosperity, and the agricultural backbone of the nation. Together, the design reflects both leadership and livelihood, values deeply rooted in American identity. Now let's focus on the D Mint mark. This small letter, tucked just below the date, tells a powerful story. The D indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the most important mints in the country. While Denver produced millions of pennies in 1957, not all coins were created equal. Variations in striking quality, die condition, planchet quality, and storage over the decades have created dramatic differences in value today. For collectors, the mint mark is more than just a letter. It is a gateway into understanding rarity and demand. During the late 1950s, the United States Mint was focused on quantity rather than perfection. Coins were produced rapidly to meet the needs of a growing economy. As a result, many pennies left the mint with weak strikes, small imperfections, or minor blemishes. Most entered circulation immediately and were heavily used. They jingled in pockets, slid across counters, and were stacked in jars for years. Because of this, finding a 1957 D wheat penny in exceptional condition today is far more difficult than one might assume. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. Two pennies from the same year and mint can have wildly different values depending on how well they were preserved. A coin that shows heavy wear, flattened details, or dark corrosion is considered common and holds little more than sentimental value. But a coin that has survived decades with sharp details, original luster, and minimal contact marks enters an entirely different category. These high-grade examples are the ones that excite collectors and drive prices upward. The 1957 D wheat penny becomes especially intriguing when examined under proper lighting. Look closely at Lincoln's hair, his cheekbone, and the bow tie. On well-preserved examples, you can see crisp lines and depth that are often missing on circulated coins. The wheat stalks on the reverse should appear bold, with individual lines visible within each ear. The fields, or flat surfaces of the coin, should be relatively clean, free from deep scratches or heavy spotting. Coins that meet these standards are increasingly rare as time passes. Another factor that adds to the appeal of this penny is its place in history. The wheat penny era was nearing its end. Just 1 year later, in 1958, the reverse design would change to the Lincoln Memorial, marking the end of the wheat series. That makes the 1957 D one of the final chapters in a beloved design that spanned generations. Collectors often seek late-date wheat pennies to complete sets, driving additional demand for high-quality specimens. Beyond condition and design, the story of survival adds emotional weight. Think about how many pennies were melted, lost, or discarded over the years. How many ended up buried in landfills or forgotten in old buildings? Each surviving coin is a small miracle of chance. When a 1957 D wheat penny appears today in remarkable condition, it feels like a message from the past, preserved against all odds. Collectors are drawn not only by value, but by narrative. This penny represents a bridge between eras, from wartime scarcity to modern abundance. It reflects the craftsmanship of mid-century minting and the everyday lives of Americans who used it without a second thought. Holding one today connects you to that moment in time, making history tangible in the palm of your hand. The market for Lincoln wheat pennies has grown steadily over the years. As more people become interested in numismatics, competition for top-grade coins increases. Auction results, collector forums, and grading reports all point to a consistent truth. Exceptional examples of the 1957 wheat penny are far scarcer than mintage numbers suggest. That scarcity, combined with strong collector interest, has pushed values higher for coins that truly stand out. Professional grading plays a major role in establishing worth. Coins certified by reputable grading services are examined for authenticity, condition, and surface quality. A high grade assigned by experts can transform a simple penny into a highly sought-after collectible. This professional validation gives buyers confidence and allows rare coins to command impressive prices in the marketplace. What makes this even more exciting is the possibility factor. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, wheat pennies can still be found in old collections, inherited jars, or forgotten boxes. Stories circulate of people discovering valuable pennies while sorting through family belongings or estate collections. The idea that a small copper coin could hold unexpected worth keeps collectors and casual searchers alike coming back for more. For content creators and viewers alike, the 1957 wheat penny is the perfect subject. It combines approachability with mystery, history with modern value. It reminds us that treasure does not always glitter. Sometimes it's copper-colored, worn smooth by time, and hiding in plain sight. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: every coin tells a story, but some stories are louder than others. The United States of America 1957 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny whispers tales of post-war America, industrial strength, and the quiet passage of time. And for those rare, beautifully preserved examples that have survived the decades untouched, that whisper can turn into a shout heard across the collecting world, reaching an astonishing value of $32,374.